We have been working super hard the last few days. We've been doing a ton of body work on the big bay, the 29-footer. We've been fairing and shaping. You can see raw fiberglass under there, and you can see the filler. But obviously the console and the hull are darker than the gray. And we've got to mix some gel coat. I don't know if y'all ever talked about that, but the gel coat that we're using is a custom mix. And we're using a light gray base, and you can see some swirls of black in there. We're using the Polent brand. It's the 944A505. And we're mixing that with some of the Polent, the black, the base black. And we're doing a ratio of 6:1. That is the custom color. I didn't want to go with the light gray, and they didn't have one. And we're using just a standard off-the-shelf mixer with our cordless there. You see those swirls of color. The black is on the bottom. There we go. All right, that is coming along. All right, that gray that we're, the boat is almost exactly the same gray as the outside of these chemical buckets. But I'm gonna give you guys a walk around. We are making lots of headway as far as the body work goes. We've still got some areas here that we filled in, and we are once again using the Napa, the Pro Strand, and that is the short strand. It's a GAL 1013 is the part number, and you just mix that with a BPO catalyst. I've used a lot of fillers. Now you can use epoxies and you can use vinyl esters, and there's some fancier stuff out there. But I find that this is a lot tougher than your standard lightweight body filler. Matter of fact, Napa makes one that they call Pro Light. That is it right there. It's a GAL 1010. And quite honestly, I don't really like it. It's kind of dry, and when you try to apply it, it wants to kind of roll up on itself, and it doesn't really seem to adhere. And the short strand that we've been using seems to be a more similar hardness to fiberglass, so that when we're sanding it, you can see these areas where you can see raw glass and then the filler. It doesn't seem to wallow out or dip. Seems like the lightweight is a softer material. But we have made a lot of progress, y'all. It's really, really, really coming along, getting really close. I feel like our toe rails, see, these are little toe kicks that we faired and shaped in. Got everything really looking sharp. But the custom mix on the gel coat, we're working on that right now. So you guys, sometimes if you have a gel coat color you just don't like, especially in the grays, you can just get some black and tint it down or tint it up and make it work for you. Yep, getting ready to cut out some hatches up front. So we're moving on kind of beyond body work at this point, and we're getting into hardware, guys. But I wanted to show y'all a few little tips and tricks, things that we've found over the years that are super helpful. Now, we like to use a pretty standard hatch that is in a lot of boats. They're not terribly expensive. I've had good success with them in the past. That's made by a company called Bomar. I believe Pomponette may have taken over the company, I'm not sure, but it's B-O-M-A-R. We've used them a ton in the past, about 140 bucks. They work good, rectangular in shape, but sometimes figuring out how to cut out and where it's gonna fit can be a challenge. Now you can see we've already got this taped. We marked the center line of this panel here. We kind of dropped down, but we have found that just making a plywood template of the outline of the hatch is really, really helpful. You can see this is going to just slip. It's basically just an exact outline, and it allows you to take the plywood template. We're using just a little level for a surface to get the right height. We've got a center line mark on this little wood gauge. We line that up with that center line for the panel. And then you can see we've just marked the inside parameter, and we're just gonna buzz that out. But it can be a little frustrating sometimes to just take a plastic hatch and figure out how to get the mark on there without making a template. And then we've got some tight corners here that are gonna make it really hard for us to get like a saber saw in and turn those corners. So we're using a 3.5 inch diameter hole saw, and we basically just took a hole saw and laid it into the radius and then marked the center of it. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cut that little circle out, and then we'll finish the cut with the Sawzall. All right, y'all, what we're gonna do is we're gonna drill a little pilot hole first. Going right through that Coosa. All right, and then that makes it a lot easier to chase it. Sometimes with this big hole saw, it's hard to see to get your pilot hole started, but you can see we can go right in there. Got our vacuum running. Just got to be careful with these big hole saws. Making dust. Here we go. That's the jigsaw that we are using to cut out our hatches, and that is the blade configuration. Sorry about that. That's a T321BF. I hope y'all can see that. Anyway, Bosch blades work really good. We got one hatch hole cut out. Here you can see we've used our big hole saw from the big DeWalt. You can see we've went ahead and punched those corners out, and that way we've got our radius and the saber saw. We can cut right down to it and then start in the middle and work our way out. So we've got everything kind of plotted and laid out. We're about midway through the process. A lot of times your layout and planning is a big part of it, but you don't want to skimp on that. Kind of measure twice, drill or cut once, you know, and maybe get started on one panel and test it and make sure all your dimensions and measurements are going to be pretty accurate before you go and drilling everything without double checking your stuff, because it's way hard to repair one of these cuts if you make a big mistake in a lot of cases. Yep, that's the inside of the console. We got it turned on its face, and we're getting ready to mount some hard points. So what we've done is we've taken some pieces of 3/4 Coosa, and this is going to be for like our fuse bus and a ground bar, and we're going to put one on either side here just because we want to be sure to have plenty of hard points. And then these upper hard points are going to be for the computer or the brains for these motors. So we're going to be running a pair of 150 Yamaha, the DEC, the digital electronic control, and they have a pretty good size black box that's got to be hard mounted somewhere up inside the console. So what we've done is we've used some of our good old the green, like that green high strength putty that you see me use everywhere, and we've just stuck those in there. And of course we've primed and resin coated the Coosa, got us a pan of resin, and got some mat staged right over there, just some CSM chop strand mat, and we're just going to put one layer of mat on there. It's all it needs. We'll be able to self tap some screws in there and hold our equipment. But yeah, awesome stuff moving forward. That's what we're fixing to work on for right now. Got them all glassed in, guys. So again, those are our hard points for our fuse blocks and electronics and that kind of stuff inside the console. And we just did one coat of chop strand mat, and then y'all can see we had come in here and sanded the interior surface with just a grinder, and then had some leftover resin where we touched that up. And sometimes I'll do that. I have a little leftover resin on a project, I'll just roll it somewhere, kind of smooths everything out. Check that beautiful sight out, y'all. That is all the fairing done. We got all the fairing, all the body work. We've been working on that the last several days. Been really messy, dusty, dirty. I haven't really captured much video of that. I apologize, y'all. Maybe in another episode we'll get some more stuff, but majority of the fairing is done. You can see we've got all our shapes and our contours and the radiuses on our rails, and we've got all the interior fairing, which y'all saw that on one of our previous episodes with the custom rod holders. Back here around the transom into the splash well, there's a nice overview of things. Got her all cleaned out, and you can even see back there back there on the console, we've been laying out where the instrumentation is going to go, the gauges and whatnot. That's going to be one of our next phases. We got a trailer coming in 2 days. Motors are here. They're in town. We just got to go pick them up probably next week. Trying to get some gel coat on this thing is the next phase. Kind of exciting. Y'all can see all these pails and buckets. There's our custom mix. That's that stealth gray. We got our pans ready to go and some of our other miscellaneous equipment. Once again, y'all, for all the fairing on the interior, we use the Pro Strand. There's some of our long boards and fairing blocks from 3M, other supplies and whatnot there. But the gel coat, I think, is going to be for another episode, y'all. We are probably to the end of this one. As always, you know, it means a ton to me for you guys to take the time to watch our videos. If you haven't already subscribed, please feel free to do so, totally free, and it helps out the channel. Tell a friend, got somebody that likes this kind of stuff. As always, y'all, it's Captain Joe here with Island Marine Charters down in Gulf Shores, Alabama, and Fish Bump TV here on YouTube. And we will catch you guys next time out.